says, son, you're the sheriff now. You're awful young. I hope you stand the test. 'Cause I'm gonna hit the trail. I can't keep devils and demons locked in no jail. So old Sammy headed out across the desert.
Gus Van Sant, becoming a popular figure in the United States film landscape, was never really supposed to happen. That he hung around long enough to make crowd-pleasing middlebrow years into a career delivering one idiosyncratic, antisocial story of misfits and losers after another is some kind of miracle. But what comes through when you watch all of his movies, even his much-hated remake of Psycho, is the sense that he's found people that no other director would have gone looking for, let alone unearthed. His films show the nervous, twitchy, desperate souls most directors ignore, or never know enough about to do even that. His collected works comprise an epic treatise on and response to Maxim Gorky's The Lower Depths, where the homeless and broken, the fragile and death-driven, the lost and confused are his heroes, given the same emphatic romanticism usually reserved for characters played by Vivien Leigh or Kate Winslet. After completing his minimalist death trilogy, as it was later called, comprised of Jerry, Elephant, and Last Days, Van Sant made Paranoid Park, a beautiful remix of his pet themes and obsessions. Gabe Nevins placed the hero of Van Zant's impoverished universe, a pretty, mumbly teen who saw a man die and worries he'll be held responsible. Memories of the crime keep him at a remove from the world he sees, just as Christopher Doyle's cinematography deliberately puts an overexposed, high-contrast light in the world around him. Everything's a little too dark or a little too bright, and suddenly his reluctance to speak, or rather to form sentences that would make his state of being more articulate, makes much more sense.
About a month later, halfway through math class, there was an announcement. My name. My name and no others.
Okay, so today I really want to teach you guys about buoyant force. And buoyant force is the force that's exerted upon an object. But the funny thing is objects tend to differ in shape. We have objects like this, like you see, divided in the middle.
He's never at home, even when he is. The film's grammar is deliberately stunted in its ability to communicate traditionally. Every opportunity to say something the way an ordinary American film would is ignored. But the film is filled with a rich and expressive emotional inner life. At times it feels like the first film to attempt to convey through image and sound design the brain of an American teenager. Not what they experience, but how they experience it. It's quiet, but clearly panicking when a direct expression of thought is required.
So what is your parental situation?
What do you mean?
Well, your parents, are they still together?
They've been separated for a while, and they're gonna get a divorce soon.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, my parents got a divorce. I mean, in fact, I think I was about your age. I remember it was kind of a tough thing to go through.
Yeah.
Do you have any brothers or sisters?
Yeah, I have a little brother, and he's 13.
Okay. How about a sister?
No.
How about a girlfriend?
Yeah. Jennifer.
Jennifer? Where was she that night?
My girlfriend?
Mhm.
She was with just some other friends.
Okay. Did you happen to call her that night at any point? I mean, do you have a cell phone?
No, I didn't call her, and I don't have a cell phone.
Okay. Well, just going through my notes, I'll tell you what. Let me tell you what my situation is. I have this security guard, and we find him deceased on the railroad tracks. And so we're thinking maybe he tripped or he fell. But the autopsy says he was struck by an object. And we also have a witness that says he saw somebody throw something over the bridge into the river. We happen to have that object, and it's a skateboard. Now, the funny thing is, there's some DNA evidence on the skateboard that puts it at the scene of the crime.
Even the story he writes that is meant to explain his actions is deliberately unreliable. He can and can't say what he's feeling and thinking.
During the last week of summer, we were downtown one fine day. One day, I was with Jared, who was a little older than me. He said we should check out Paranoid Park. I had heard of it, of course, but I had never thought of going there. I assumed it was out of my league. But when I said, I don't think I'm ready, Jared laughed and said something like, nobody's ever ready for Paranoid Park. We went to the park together the next day.
Music takes over when words can't be found.
I'm writing this a little out of order. Sorry, I didn't do so well in creative writing, but I'll get it all on paper eventually.
Van Zandt directs a beautifully modern coming-of-age story, showing not the moments of conscience, of awakening, but the moments that will someday mean something to his protagonist. Any adult in the audience can see he'll look back on each thing. The loss of his virginity, the witnessing of death, the exposure to the world of the slightly older and more mature as foundational. Paranoid Park is a movie that almost perfectly describes the hazy sheen of memory, the things we want back, like our innocence, the moments that made us, that at the time felt wrong, inconvenient, and intimidating. It's a film about a boy who could never locate the word no when he needed it most. Doyle and co-photographer Rain Cathy Lee alternate between showing the subjectively misty lens of their confused and overwhelmed teenage hero and the distance keeping him from the rest of the world. The way it all feels, just a little too big for him, a little too fast, and a little too bright. Paranoid Park is a film in which the past tries to claw at the present. We only learn later the chasm between what was expected of us and what was possible. Paranoid Park is a perfect movie about the blankness of the teenage mindset, the unwillingness to learn except by force or seduction. It shows, unemphatically, the canvas of adolescence on which lives are subsequently painted. Our bodies, our minds. Everything is waiting to be colored in. Van Zandt was shrewd and compassionate enough to leave us that way, because death is always present, a specter looming out of the corner of our eyes. It's up to us how we accept it. Until then, life remains.
White lady.